Hey guys, Corey here with a new scrapbook process video for you. Today is a recipe challenge over at HipKit, and here is the recipe. So you need to use layered hearts, stitching, a frame, a black and white accent, some sparkle, and you need to do some fussy cutting. So that is the challenge for today. It's a little bit different than a sketch challenge, but you, if you're chosen as the winner, you still get a $10 gift card to the shop, and so you can find that recipe if you didn't catch it here. You can go and get it on our Facebook page, on the HipKit Facebook page. So anyhow, I'm just going to go ahead and get started. The first thing I'm doing is I had to decide which photo I was going to use. They're both from the same weekend that I had with my daughter in New York City, but I didn't know which one I wanted to use for this, but I ultimately chose this one of her standing in the middle of the street. And what I'm trying to do first is just make sure that I have all the different ingredients of this recipe. So the first thing I did was get my frame cut out. And then I'm also going to get some black and white accents, just like that little tiny chipboard thing. It says, "This is life." I'm also going to, I've got that little heart there. I am going to use some layered hearts, and then I'm just going to go through this ephemera and get a few little things too that I want to make sure I have on this page. And then for the sparkle, I'm going to use this glitter tape stuff that was in, this is all the January hip kits. And I'm going to use that, and I want to punch little hearts out of it. Well, when I first did that, it just like the sticky on the tape, it just didn't go through my punch very well. So what I did was I went ahead and just used some, regular paper. I stuck it to that, and then I was able to punch out some hearts really easily then. Sometimes you just got to be a little bit creative. So it's not a big deal. I can go ahead and just adhere this on with hot glue or with regular glue. But at least then I was able to get them out and not have them stuck in my punch, which is never fun. So once I punched those out, then I knew I was going to have my sparkle for the page. I ultimately really want to make sure that I've got all of these different little elements. So I do go ahead and mark my list to make sure that I've got everything that I need for this. So I'm going to pull out my list right here and just kind of mark off what I need. Now stitching, that'll come later. Layered hearts will come a little bit later. But I eventually get it all onto this page. So the first thing I'm going to do is get some color on here. So I'm going to use the Silent Night Silver from Lindy's Stamp Gang, the little powder stuff. I really like this stuff. It's really fun. Any of these powders, because it's so easy. For one, they mix really well with water or different mixed medias. But I really like the way they actually have, like, it's funny because they all have like different colors in them, and they come out sometimes like if they don't get mixed up all the way, and so then you might have this streak of like blue or red or yellow or something. And I just think it's like so super cool the way that these powders kind of come together. So anyhow, I'm a big fan of them. And so I'm just going to get some on the background of this page. See, this here, I just mixed it. And I swear I did not get it into any of that red, but there it was. There was like some red in it. So it must have had like a glob of like red powder. I don't know. But it actually came out really cool, and I like the way it all looked on the background. So while that's drying, I'm going to go ahead and start embellishing like my centerpiece with my photo for this page. It's kind of fun to embellish a page this way because like it's not even on the page. So I know that this is going to be like a big part of, well, it's going to go right in the center. So it's really easy to kind of, even though it's not on the page, just do exactly what I wanted to do with it. I've done this a lot before where, you have the background, it's wet, and then you just kind of build the different things, and then you can just like slap it all on there, stick it down, and boom, the page is like finished, and it doesn't even feel like you've been doing any work on it. So anyhow, that's that for today. So now that the background is dry, well, I'm going to help it out just a little bit, but it's dry, I can go ahead and start getting this stuff on there, and finishing it up. Okay, so this picture is from New York City. We don't live in New York City. I took my daughter up there with me to do an art class. So there's this artist I found her on Instagram, but she lives in the UK and she's just really incredibly talented. She does these really loose floral watercolor paintings and it's just gorgeous. Anyhow, so she lives in the UK, so it's not like she comes to the United States very often to do classes. Actually, I don't know if she ever has, but I saw that she was doing one in New York, and I was like, oh my gosh, how fabulous would it be able to go to this class? Now, I'm not a very good watercolor painter at all, but I figured why not go and like check it out. So I asked my daughter, who loves to paint, if she wanted to go with me. She said yeah. So the two of us, we took off. We went to New York and had this watercolor class. We were there a little early, so we were walking around early in the morning, and so she was able to easily take a photo in the middle of the road. So that's where that photo came from. Okay, so here, these are some hearts from the center of a cut file that I had used on a previous page. And I'm just using those here. I used the pink from this month's color kit and the yellow that came in a past color kit to mix together to get the right color for my page. And so I just painted a bunch of hearts, and then I want to back them because it said layered hearts was part of the recipe. So I'm just going to cut out some extra of these same heart shapes. I'm going to fussy cut them. Get this, that's another part of the recipe challenge. I'm going to fussy cut them out of this blue pattern paper that came in the January kits. So then what I'll do is I'll layer them together, and then I'm going to stitch them all. So here I am just cutting out these hearts. It's nothing exciting. Fussy cutting is one of those things where I think it looks really cool, but it's tedious for me. It's not like something I truly enjoy doing because I don't know. It's scissors, and you have to be like kind of exact. I don't know. And it's just not something that's like one of my favorite things to do. I'd rather tear the paper. So I don't know. But it all looks pretty cool anyhow. And I do like the way that when you layer them together, you can see them, and the top one just pops off the bottom one a little bit. I think they actually look really good. So while I complain about fussy cutting, I actually really like the way that this turned out. So then I'm going to just stitch them all together. And there's 4 of these. So that way I've got some layered hearts to put on this page. And then you'll see I'm just going to kind of lay everything out so that I can see what it looks like. Now, I thought this was great. So this page is, I guess this happened, the weekend was January 31st to February 2nd that we were in New York. It wasn't freezing there. I mean, it was cold, but it wasn't like super freezing or anything. It was in the 40s, which wasn't terrible, especially when you're in the city. And the buildings in the background, I mean, these colors are so great. So it's just one of those things that's so funny where you're like, okay, it's this winter page that I'm using this beautiful pink springtimey, Valentine-y almost kit with, and it all totally works. So the photo, I didn't even edit it purposefully for this page to match the colors or anything. It just all kind of had worked out that way. I just always love when that happens. It just is just super fun. So the title of this page is NYC Wknd, and I'm just abbreviating weekend, with the WKND. I didn't need to write out the whole word. Besides, I kind of wanted it balanced on either side of the photo. So I did stitch those letters down, and because of course, you don't ever want things floating around in the page protectors later on. And then I don't even know what I'm going to do next. I made this page actually a couple days ago, and I know that's ridiculous that I'm like, what order did I do this? See, I'm saying I found all of my recipe elements, that I've got them all on here. I actually didn't have the sparkle yet, but I had already punched out those sparkle hearts, so I knew I was going to use them, so it wasn't a big deal. So I'm going to date my page. I did end up putting the dates of the weekend instead of just the day of this photograph. The funny thing about this weekend is I thought that my daughter was just going to absolutely love the city. It wasn't the first time that she'd been there. It was actually the second. And the first time was many years ago. So she was much younger and, was just, this is so cool. But she actually didn't like it at all, really. I mean, she loved the class and us hanging out. We went and saw a show. We went out and had some great food, and all of that was really fun. But just the fact that the people honk at each other all the time for no apparent reason, like, really got to her. And then the fact that people didn't, like, they weren't friendly when you're on the road. Now, we met some great people while we were there, and they were all super friendly once you got to talking to them. But I think it was just kind of like the, you know, maybe some abrasiveness or something. I don't know. I love the city. I just thrive in it. Even like the subway that smells so bad, I think it's like so much fun. So I guess I was a little bit surprised that she had such an adverse reaction to being there. But I'm not really surprised, I guess, either. So I am surprised, but then at the same time, when I really think about it, I'm not, because the next page that I'm going to post in a couple of days is actually her at the beach. And you know, in all fairness, this girl is a total beach bum. She's not a city girl. She likes the beach, so oh well. So I'm just wrapping up my page with a few little extra hearts sprinkled in. And then, of course, a little my journaling about the weekend. It was a very brief synopsis once the journaling's all finished. Just very brief, just about the weekend and stuff. Not a lot of details, but I've got lots more pictures to add in all the different details and stuff coming from the weekend. Then I was just sitting there thinking, you know, I've got these extra hearts and I think we need a few more on the page. So I went back and added those. I did add a couple of these little sparkly, I guess they're kind of like enamel dot hearts, but they are a little bit sparkly. And then I was like, oh, wait, I punched out all of these glitter hearts. I better add those too. Like, you know, it's one of those things where I was like, oh, I'm done with my page. And then realized, no, missing a whole element that I had gotten ready. I'd prepped earlier on. So I'm just going to get those down. And then once that's done, you guys, this page really will be finished. And here it is, all finished. And then a few little details as well. Remember, guys, this is the recipe challenge over on the Hip Kit Club Facebook page. You guys do not need to use Hip Kit products to play along, so just play along and try and win your gift card to the shop. Thanks for watching. Bye.